When you hit the ripe age of 35 in the fashion industry, you are considered old. Now, as of the time I'm making this video, I'm 36, and I know the feeling. See? Look at all these gray hairs. They're there. And it can feel like you're always getting beat out by younger candidates who are willing to work for a fraction of a fair wage, which is so frustrating because you know that your breadth of knowledge offers so much more value to brands than these younger candidates who don't have hardly any experience. But you're not willing, nor can you afford to work for these really low wages. I get it, and you shouldn't have to, which is why this video is made just for you. We're gonna go through 6 strategies that you can use to show brands why you're the best candidate for the job and why you should be hired, even if you're old and require a higher salary. I'm Heidi, founder of SuccessfulFashionDesigner.com, and I teach designers like you the real life skills you need to get ahead in this cutthroat fashion industry. It's all the stuff people don't talk about, but that you need for a successful career, which is why I call it Fashion Industry Secrets Revealed. The advice in this video isn't just stuff that I made up. It's stuff I know personally from working professionally in the fashion industry for over a decade, and it's also stuff that I've learned from doing over 75 podcast interviews with designers out there who are just like you. These are amazingly successful designers who have worked at brands like Lululemon, Athleta, and Under Armour. And I've handpicked the best advice that they've shared on all the podcast interviews I've done, and I've packaged them up into this short video just for you. If you want to hear the full interview with any of these designers, they're all linked below in the description. For now, let's dive in to fashion career advice, 6 strategies you can use to land your dream job, even at the ripe old age of 35 or beyond. So yes, even if you're 40, 45, 50, 55, whatever the number, you can also use these strategies to help make sure you land the job at the wage that's right for you. Here are the exact 6 strategies we're gonna cover with step-by-step guidance and advice on how you can use these strategies in your own unique situation. Number 1, how to present yourself as a modern candidate. Number 2, how to show brands you're a good investment. Number 3, how to not undersell yourself. Number 4, how to put a positive spin on everything. Number 5, how to show you're up to date and on trend in your category, even if you're in between jobs. And number 6, how to put yourself out there and network to find your next job opportunity. So here we are. Number 1, how to present yourself as a modern candidate. This first one is going to sound insanely trivial, but in episode 6 of the podcast, Chris Kidd, who's the founder of StyleCareers.com, shared this simple strategy that you can use to present yourself as a modern candidate. Best news, this is something you can fix in a couple minutes. I'll let Chris explain on his own in a few sentences the background behind this strategy.
So much of it has to do with, seeming current. You know what I mean? That 40-year-old designer or that, 45, 50-year-old designer, if she comes off in her electronic presence as 45 or 50, she's not going to get a job. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? And it's not about the avatar that you present. It's if you're using an AOL address, don't even bother applying because you look like an old person.
So yes, this can be as simple as having a modern email address, aka not Hotmail, sorry mom, or AOL. Gmail is the common industry standard, so take a couple minutes to set a free account up now. Beyond changing your email address, Chris and I talk about in the interview the importance of showing up online. Now that doesn't mean you have to be on Twitter or Snapchat, and that doesn't mean that you're showing up in the Google search engine results. What that means is showing up in some way digitally. This can be as simple as representing yourself on a platform like LinkedIn. Because showing that you keep up with basic modern technology is going to send a signal to brands that you also keep up with what's going on in your industry. Things like staying up on trends, what's going on in the fashion world, and so on. So a few minor tweaks can have a big impact to show that you're a modern candidate. Number 2, how to show that you're a good investment for a brand. Another part of being a modern candidate, besides showing up digitally and having a modern email address, is having a modern resume. This is something that Chris Kidd, again, the founder of StyleCareers.com, mentioned in our interview. It's that having a modern resume doesn't mean having your objective statement at the top anymore. That is old and outdated. Instead, you want to focus on a results-driven resume to show brands you're a good investment. This is exactly what Sheena Schoolcraft did, and she shared this with us in episode 11. Sheena's worked for brands like Tommy Hilfiger and DKNY, and she uses this exact strategy on her resume. I'll let her explain in her own words.
Well, what I've done to, I think, really help improve my resume is to show results. So it's not just saying, oh, I, sketched woven tops and I did tech packs and blah, blah, blah. It's, I improved sales by 10% this quarter to last year. It's stuff like that, your SVP or your director or whoever is interviewing you is going to look at. They want results driven. You can be designing beautiful things, but if it doesn't sell, what good is it,
Now, you think of yourself as an employee, but brands often look at you as an investment. They are going to invest a certain amount of dollars per year in you, and they need to reap that benefit back. So how can you show a brand on the first inch or two of your resume that you can either make them money or you can save them money? And I know this might seem a little tricky to wrap your head around, but in the interview with Sheena, we go through multiple examples of exactly how you can do this. Either it's increasing sales, either it's implementing new systems that speed up processes and save people time. Maybe it's negotiating better prices with factories. Whatever it is that you've done in your career to make or save a brand money, you want to show them this on your resume. So if you need some more examples, check out Sheena's full interview. Again, it's linked below in the description. Number 3, how to not undersell yourself. As a seasoned and experienced candidate, it can be easy to start applying to jobs that are below your level if you're not having success with jobs that are at your level. But this strategy can bite you in the butt big time. And Shelly Simpson, who runs the entire fashion recruiting department at Atrium Staffing in New York City, shares this exact advice with us in episode 53 of the podcast. Here's a soundbite of exactly what it looks like to brands when you start applying for jobs that are below your skill set.
Yeah, why are you a manager level and why are you applying to our associate role? That is concerning right off the bat.
Yeah.
And just wait until that company, you may be, shooting yourself in the foot because 2 weeks down the road they may have a senior position. And you'll be like, well, this person applied for associate role. Now we're really concerned. So you're really doing yourself a disservice by undercutting yourself and your skills.
Because here's the thing, to work in the fashion industry, brands need you to be confident. And if you're not even confident in your skill set when applying for jobs, as Shelly says, this is going to be a huge red flag for them. Now listen, I know you may be stuck in between jobs and that can be a really hard time financially. So something Shelly suggests you can do to make ends meet in the interim is instead of applying for full-time jobs that are below your pay grade, apply for short interim freelance gigs. It's okay to take a lower salary or lower title in an interim short stint like that, and just keep yourself active in the market. Number 4, how to put a positive spin on everything. What the F does this even mean? People are really good at complaining about bitchy bosses and toxic workplaces in the fashion industry. But complaining and talking about how terrible things are or were at your last job can backfire. Put yourself in the shoes of a hiring manager for just a minute. If you were looking to hire someone, would you want a candidate who is complaining about how overworked they were and how terrible their last boss was? Or a candidate who talked about how they were looking for new challenges and opportunities to grow with a new supportive team? You've basically just said the same thing, but it's flipped from a negative to a positive. Now, I am sure that you've been in bad working situations before. Toxic environments are left and right in the fashion industry. I've experienced this firsthand as well, And I know that sometimes escaping a toxic job is the reason you're looking for a new one. And this is something that Chris Kidd, again, the founder of stylecareers.com, reminds us of in episode 6. There's always a way to put a positive spin on a negative situation. So when they ask you, why did you leave or why are you leaving your current job? Get creative with how you answer in a positive light. Here are a few more specific examples that you can use. Instead of, the people on my team never carried their weight and I had to stay late to pick up the slack, try, our team juggled a lot, so I always jumped in when I could to help my coworkers meet their deadlines too. Instead of, my boss was controlling, yelled a lot, and the energy in the office was toxic, try, I learned how to work with different personality types and get my work done even under extreme pressure. And one last example that you can use when you're in the workplace, think about this. Instead of, no, I can't get to it, I have too much work to do, try, yes, I'd be happy to get that done. My deadline for these tech packs is tight. I can fit it in next week unless you'd like me to prioritize. I know as much as we like to complain and vent to our friends and misery breeds company, at the end of the day, when it comes to working in a brand, teams need and want people that are positive and work towards the end goal together. So think about in all of your communication how you can put a positive spin on everything and let that brand know that you're the type of team player they want to hire. Number 5, how to show that you're on trend and up to date in your category, even if you're in between jobs and not working on a specific project. I want to introduce you to Layla Jalili, an outerwear fashion designer who's worked with brands like Helly Hansen and Under Armour. Layla continues to stay up to date in her category by attending trade shows, documenting what's going on, and putting together trend reports even though no brand is paying her or asking her to do this. In her own words from our podcast interview, she shares her strategy.
I used my industry contacts to attend outdoor retailer, and I actually had a few companies who were featuring my designs. So I felt it was very important for me to have a presence there. I was networking and trying to meet new people, attending seminars, and it was a great opportunity for me to pass out my business card and get connected with people. In doing so, I did what we call market research. You're attending presentations, you're taking pictures. I went and shopped some of the stores downtown Denver, and I spent some extra time after the show to shop the market in Breckenridge and Keystone and some of these destination ski resort towns and really see what was out there. And of course, some of the product was my own styles that I had worked on, which was really cool, but also just seeing what's out there with brands. And then in taking all these pictures, I put together a trend report or a market research report.
Later in the interview, Layla shared that she took this trend report to a brand presentation that she was talking to about some freelance opportunities. And they were so impressed that she had taken the initiative to do this, even though no one had sent her to the trade show, that they hired her for the job. You need to show people that you're around and that you're paying attention. You need to show them that you stay up to date on trends, even when no one is telling you to do this work. You're doing it because this is your job. Whether you're employed with someone right now or not, it is your job to stay up to date on these trends. So if you can show a brand that you're paying attention by doing trend reports or doing some self-directed projects, you are going to stand out as an expert in your space, and you are going to stand out amongst the competition. You're going to show brands why they should hire you over the other person. Number 6, how to put yourself out there and network. Now, this next strategy comes from a freelance designer, Marissa Borelli, who's worked for brands like Lululemon and Athleta. In episode 6 of the podcast, she shares how she starts conversations that lead to paying work. And she does this without going out there and just screaming, "Hey, I need a job. Here's my resume, hire me." Now, her strategy works so well, I wanted to include it because you can use it whether you're looking for freelance work or whether you're applying and trying to find full-time positions. It's one thing to show up at a trade show or another industry event and network. But if you do this strategically, if you go in prepared and with a plan, you will see 10 times better results than if you just show up and hand out business cards and copies of your resume asking people for a job. It requires a little work up front, But before you go to any event, do your research. Figure out what companies are going to be there, what people are going to be there. If it's a trade show, this is very easy to do. If it's a event on meetup.org, look at the guest list and start doing a little stalking of those people and think about who you want to try to have conversations with. See if you have any common contacts or connections on LinkedIn with them. And you can easily use that as a talking point to start a conversation. Check out what they're working on. Take a look at the Instagram for their brand. See if they've done any recent collaborations or have any new sponsorships. Go in with a few specific talking points for each brand that's going to be there or each person that you want to have a conversation with. And yes, it's okay if you take notes and bring these with you to the event. Just take a quick glance in your notebook before you go up to that person and start talking. And then use those conversation starters to initiate a very soft, casual, easy conversation. It can be as simple as, hey, I think you might know so-and-so who used to work at that brand. Or maybe you just pay them a genuine compliment. Like, I loved that collaboration you guys did with so-and-so. Those black and white dresses were so amazing. I bet that was a really fun project to work on. The point is to say something really easy and kind, a compliment, a question. Just warm someone up to having a conversation. You know, the whole small talk thing works really well. Now, in my podcast interview with Marissa, she goes through specific conversations and dialogues she has to do this. So if you need some more examples, check out the full interview. Again, it's linked below in the description. But the point of this is that you don't want to go out there screaming with your resume and your business card, I need a job, I'm looking for a job, hire me, hire me. And I know it might sound a little aggressive the way I'm coming off in this video, but this is how people do it. And they get very awkward. And they get very overbearing and they can make you very uncomfortable. So instead, be casual and think about this like you're having a real conversation with just a real industry friend. If the looking for work topic comes up organically, then talk about it. It's not something you have to avoid. But if it doesn't come up organically, you can gently end the conversation with the fact that you are exploring new opportunities and you'd love to stay in touch. Get their contact information and then do that. Stay in touch. And if you're unsure how to do the stay in touch or follow up part, there's a free swipe template you can grab. I've put the link below. It's from Marissa, and again, it's specific to freelancing, but it can translate very easily to hunting for a full-time job as well. Now, if this seems like a lot and you're still unsure how to apply some of these strategies to your specific situation, check out the full podcast interviews for more stories and examples of how you can use these strategies. I've linked to all of them below. In the meantime, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. And for more free tips, advice, and tutorials on how to get ahead in the cutthroat fashion industry, head on over to successfulfashiondesigner.com and sign up for the email list. I share tons of resources there that you don't see here on YouTube. I'd also love to hear from you. What piece of advice are you going to implement in your job hunt first? Let me know below by leaving a comment. How terrible your internet address? Oh, I am getting old. Greasy bangs. Is it 6? I don't fucking